Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on Little Slav YouTube channel. So today in this video, we are going to see about one of the very critical questions that is being asked in your interview. So in most of our interviews, we will be asked a question. So the interviewer or the examiner will give you the number of users. He will give you the amount of throughput that is going to be achieved or that he needs to achieve. He will give you the think time and he will give you the response time, and at the end he will ask you for the pacing. So most of the times we were not ready for this question, and we will try to bring the Little's law in your mind. You're trying to multiply the throughput with the response time, think time, pacing, and at the end we all know it's going to be a mess up. So today at the end of this video, you will definitely learn to understand how to use Little's law to find the pacing. And in fact, I will upload this script, this Excel sheet in the GitHub, and I will share you the link for you to use, so that just download this Excel sheet and insert the number of values, and at the end within just a fraction of seconds you can get the pacing. But before that I would like to tell you that to please understand the basics, the very basics. Only then, even if you give the answer correctly, you might be able to explain to them clearly, because most of, even not only you people, even the interviewers are watching my video, so they know that there is a hack that I'm telling you today. So please try to understand the Little's law. So first, let's see what is Little's law. So Little's law is where we have the number of users, which is we call as n, which is equal to throughput, or throughput multiplied by response time plus think time plus pacing. So when we do this calculation, it's very simple. We all can say, so number of users is equal to throughput multiplied by response time, think time, pacing. Yes, we can get it, but how can we use this very clearly? And even we should be able to understand, and anyone who is working in performance engineering or testing should even answer this question at the midnight. So that's how you should understand the basics of it, because every day on day-to-day life you are using this rule or this law in your day-to-day activity. So before we move on to the video, this is me, Vasan Shanmugam. I welcome you all to Little's Law YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because every day I'm sharing you very interesting videos, and I'm even getting a lot of appreciations from you people. Thank you very much for that. So let's now go to the Little's law. So here, in this example, I have 8 scripts, and each script I have 62.5 number of users. So there can be many distributions. So for example, even if you have 500 users, the distribution could be 10%, 20%, 5%, 50% of workload, right? Even in fact, we have again discussed about workload in one of our previous videos. So here our focus is only on the pacing. Okay, so when the interviewer gives you, so he might give you the number of users, he will tell you just take it as an average and divide the users into any number of scripts, like 8 scripts or 10 scripts. And then, so this number of users you will get from the user or from the client when you are working in your project. The next thing is he will give you the number of throughput, right? So when he gives you the number of throughput, you will have to divide the number of hits or the throughput per hour. Or if you are, since this test is basically divided every hour, so you might or you must need to divide the number of hits per hour. So in this example, I'm doing it that way. So I'm going to run this test for 1 hour, and I need to achieve 700 hits. So I have divided 700 by 3600. So that is by 1 hour, which is I'm dividing the hits for every second. So every second you are achieving 0.19 hits. And then moving on to the third variable, which is the think time. So here the user. So for example, so in this example, I'm giving you just 5 seconds. So let me explain you why is that. So think time, here I'm giving you 5 seconds of think time. So why I'm having 5 here and then 15 for these 4 scripts and 10 for these 3 scripts. So 5 is when I have one transaction. So after every transaction, I'm adding 5 seconds in this particular script. So your interviewer, your user might tell you that to use 20 seconds or to use 30 seconds or even to use 10 seconds. So you must need to ask how many transactions does each script has. So in the first script, I have one transaction. In the second, third, fourth, and fifth, I have 3 transactions. So after every transaction, I'm adding 5 seconds. So totally I have 15 seconds for these 4 scripts, and I have 3 transactions, so which means, sorry, 2 transactions. So I have 10 seconds each. And this variable is also down, and then coming to the last variable which we want. So here you can see I've added the response time. So how can I come up with the response time? So when you have the script and when you run the script without using the think time, you will get the actual response time of the transactions. So I've got the response time of the transactions. So in case if your client gives you that the response time of each transactions can be 5 seconds or 2 seconds or 3 seconds, or he might even say that I will have to achieve 2 seconds of response time. So take it as a response time variable. And then here is the final point, which is we'll need to find the pacing, right? So here I've given the formula, but how do I achieve it? How is this? Like users divided by throughput minus response time plus think time. So how did I achieve this? So I will take you through the formula. So here you can see n is the number of users here. So you can see I'm just correlating it. So n is the number of users equals the throughput, which I'm having it as t here, multiplied by response time plus think time plus pacing. And then coming to the next step. So since the throughput is multiplied on the right hand side, when it comes to the left hand side, it should be n divided by t. And then again we have the response time plus think time plus pacing on the right side. So the next option is going to be we are having the response time and the think time. So we are going to find only the pacing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm again having the same setup, which is number of users divided by throughput, and then I have the response time plus think time. I'm taking out the pacing, which is p. So the last step is I'm having the pacing. I'm just bringing the right side pacing to the left side, and I'm going to take the number of users and the think time to the right. So how I'm going to do it is the pacing is on the left side, and now the number of users divided by throughput minus. So why is that minus? Because here I have it as plus. So when it comes to the other side, it will turn to minus. So I'm subtracting the response time plus think time to the value which I get at the end of dividing the number of users to the throughput. So the same here. So here you can see the pacing p is equal to users divided by throughput, which is n divided by t, subtracted by response time plus think time. So that is how I have achieved the pacing. So here you can see I have achieved the pacing. So the formula is substituted here. So just p24, which is the number of users here, and then divided by q24, which is the throughput, subtracted by think time plus response time. So finally I have achieved the pacing. So in case if I have, or if the interviewer or the user tells you that to add 15 seconds as your think time, so here you can see the pacing has come out, because the reason here is you have the number of hits that you want to achieve is already defined. So the user tells you that you want to achieve some 1 million hits, so you can't change that, right? So what you can change is you can change the think time, you can change the pacing, even you can't change the response time. So the two things or two metrics which you have control on is your think time and your pacing. So you can increase the think time and the pacing to reduce the number of throughput, or you can reduce the number of think time and pacing to increase the number of throughput. So here I can tell you, so throughput is inversely proportional, it's inversely proportional to response time, the think time plus pacing. So if you want to increase your throughput, you have to decrease your think time plus pacing. In case if you want to increase your throughput, you have to decrease your think time plus pacing. If you want to decrease your throughput, you have to increase your think time and pacing. So that is what I'm doing here. So the think time here is 5 here, the response time is 11, and the pacing is 305. So when you see the total is going to be 321. So you or the user is going to wait for 321 seconds to achieve the 700 hits per hour. And here you can see there's a column after the pacing. So what is this? So in fact, you can even answer this question, or even you can proactively tell this to your interviewer, to the user, that you are going to achieve these many number of hits for every iteration, for every user, for every hour, so that the total number of hits can be achieved. So how did I arrive to this number? So here the same number, which is 1 hour, which is the same here, which I have achieved. So I have brought the same number, which is 3600 seconds, divided by this think time, the pacing, and then the response time. So when I divide the total duration divided by the waiting times, automatically I achieve the amount of hits, the throughput per hour, and then I'm giving the value to the end. So when I multiply the iterations and the users, I get the total number of hits, because this is what I wanted to achieve. So if you can see the very first column, so this is what I wanted to achieve. So when I give these values, when I multiply this, I get the number of hits which I wanted to achieve for each script. So this is how it works. So the very basic formula is, if you want to increase the throughput, you want to decrease your waiting time. If you want to decrease your throughput, you have to increase your waiting time. So I believe this video would be very useful to you. Thank me later after you clear your interview. So in case if you have any questions regarding the Little's Law, please do post in the comment section. We can discuss it very well. And please don't forget to subscribe to our Little's Law YouTube channel. Until I meet you in another interesting video, it's bye bye from Asan Shanmugam and Little's Law.